Hey everyone, I'm MJ and welcome to my channel. Thank you for clicking on and I hope that you enjoy this video. In my last video, I spoke about watching a program called Astrid, which is a French crime series, and one of the main characters is autistic. I am loving it, so I've just finished season 1 and really recommend it. It's a really good watch. For me personally, I have to turn the volume right down and put subtitles on because it's very distracting for me to hear the French while reading the English. My brain just can't compute. But yeah, it's really like a great story. The way that the female is portrayed as being autistic is quite stereotypical, but I love her little quirks and I love her little mannerisms, and just the fact that she uses her ability to see so much more detail in a situation than a neurotypical person would, and she uses it for the greater good, and she builds this amazing relationship with this police officer woman. And I think the friendship between them is just so special. The policewoman is so accepting and just really sees Astrid for who she is, and just loves her. And I love watching their on-screen chemistry because I just think they've got a beautiful friendship. So yeah, that's one thing that I've been doing. Another thing is I have finished this book. So Fern Brady is a Scottish comedian and she wrote a book about being late diagnosed autistic, and someone at my work recommended it to me. It's brilliant, and I think I love this so much because she mentions so many things in this book, like places that I've been to. We're of a similar age and she's not from too far away from me, so the places that she mentions I've been to and I'm familiar with, and her experiences in her childhood and her younger years are very similar to mine. She has had a really horrific life and she talks a lot about trauma and the decisions she had to make as a result of that. So it is a difficult read, but it's also fantastic. And I just think Fern Brady is now my new latest special interest. She's fabulous. I wish I was her friend. And in the post, I was very excited to now receive Paige Lyle's, is that how you say it? Paige Lyle's book. She is another autistic woman who has written a book, and she is a content creator. I have watched a lot of her YouTube and Instagram stuff, and she's just fantastic. So I got really super excited that she wrote a book. I haven't started reading it, but it is on my to-do list. I have a very busy schedule at the moment, so I'm just trying to make sure I set aside time so I can really get into it, and I'm really super excited. I'm not a great reader. In my whole life, I've found reading to be really a challenge for me because I'm such a slow reader, and to actually pick up a book instead of doing something else is not something that I usually do. But I've got so into reading recently, especially in the last year. I've absorbed so much information through reading. And I found this new love for reading, so it's really exciting. If you have any books by autistic authors that you would recommend to me, then pop them in the comments. I would love to give them a little read, and maybe I'll do a little review on a couple of the books that I've read in a video in the future. Recently, someone asked me what my thoughts were on ABA therapy. Let's just say I'm not a fan. If you are new to what ABA therapy is, it stands for Applied Behaviour Analysis. It's a therapy that helps kids with autism learn skills and lessen problematic behaviour like hurting themselves. So, I don't really know enough words to communicate how I feel about this, but the reason I don't agree with ABA therapy is it's basically making a child suppress their autistic traits and replace them with neurotypical traits. And I just don't think I think that's quite detrimental to their health. I think that's not going to be helpful. It's used a lot with nonverbal children, and then they're given tasks and they receive a huge amount of praise if they do this tiny little task. it's really patronizing, and I kind of feel like you're treating these children like a dog who's learning a new trick. But what that child just learns is that this reaction makes a neurotypical happy. I have to make a neurotypical happy. Then they go through their whole life doing performances to make neurotypical people happy. But it's detrimental because then they're not able to, their autistic traits have been replaced with things that are just not natural for them. These neurotypical traits might not come as easily naturally to them as they would to a neurotypical. Why are we trying to make children act like neurotypical children if they're autistic? Like, just let them be autistic. Just anything that you're teaching a neurotypical child, an autistic child has a different brain. So they're not going to naturally learn the same way. And there's so much more to ABA therapy, but I feel that if you suppress autistic tendencies in someone later in life, they're going to really struggle to find out who they are at the core and how they're supposed to respond, because they're so busy being this performer for a neurotypical. They've gained tendencies and traits that are not natural for them. This will then have like the outcome of they go to burnout. I once heard this example of, like when we as autistic people, we mask, we can only do it for so long and then we reach burnout. And this person said, it's like going to the gym. The gym is a really good thing for your physical body. You make your muscles strong, you grow strength. It gives you all these chemicals in your brain that are really healthy. But if you like stretch a muscle so far, and don't give it rest, then it will eventually be damaged. You will tear it, or you'll rip it, or stretch it, or you'll just put too much pressure on that muscle. So although exercise is really good for it, too much exercise is detrimental to the muscle. So it's a bit like masking. We can mask and cope well in life masking, but if we have to continually do that over and over and over again, when we have got so many other things that our brain is trying to process and account for around us, it's going to be detrimental, and it means that we're going to have burnout. Like, our ability to mask is not going to be there. And we're going to need to rest and recuperate and look after ourselves. And when an autistic person gets to burnout, they need to know what they can put in place to help recuperate them, to release their brain from all that pressure. Every autistic person is different. Every person is different to what helps them to relax and helps them to regulate and helps their nervous system to come to a normal level. But if all you've ever been shown is how to be acting like a neurotypical person, then you're not going to figure out what works for you. So that's where ABA therapy kind of contradicts itself, because it's teaching you all these things so that you can act like other neurotypical children, and suppress all the dangerous behaviours or suppress all the things that make you different, so you have an easier life, that you can grow up and be part of society. But if you're not able to be the natural you and express yourself the way that is most comfortable to you, then you're just gonna either be having meltdowns all the time, you're gonna reach burnout, you're just gonna take a lot longer to find out who your true identity is. I would also like to say that ABA therapy is quite harmful. It's seen as like a lot of repetitive behaviours, like repeating actions, which is exhausting. And I feel like autistic people have enough demands on them. And a lot of, like a third of people who have PDA are autistic. PDA stands for pathological demand avoidance. where small, normal, everyday tasks can appear like really hard and overwhelming. So ABA adds more demands onto someone's life than is necessary. It's hurtful for autistic people. Some people call it traumatic and torture and bigoted. And this is coming from the autistic community. It's not actually, ABA therapy doesn't actually teach us the skills that we really need to navigate the world. It just teaches us how to be more neurotypical, but not in a way that comes most naturally to us. So we're not learning the skills that we need as autistic individuals. And I just think we need to learn from a very early age who we are and rejoice in that, and then find our own accommodations. Like every autistic person is finding their own accommodations and what works for them and what doesn't. So we don't need neurotypical people telling us how to behave. Anyway, I'm not sure if I've communicated that properly. I feel it's very patronising. I feel it's degrading. It's also enablism, like telling an autistic child that they have to act a certain way and they will get rewarded as a result of acting a certain way. It just communicates that like the neurotypical way is the best way. And it's not the best way, it's just a different way. But if you have a neurodiverse brain, it's not going to be natural. Anyway, that's all all the information I have on that. I mean, I'm not very knowledgeable on ABA therapy, but I just thought I'd share my view. If you have a lot more information, then please send it to me because I'm interested in people's perspectives on this. But I am very much an advocate of autistic people thriving to be their best authentic self and not have to perform and not have to mask and not have to be what everyone else expects them to be. Being who you are is the best. Everyone says that anyway, like in every film and book and education, like they always say be the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is being authentic and not being what other people expect you to be. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to close it off there. Thank you for listening. See you again soon.